and at the White House and doing something about it. So I thought they'd have that conversation, but that didn't happen either, Yamiche.
That didn't happen either. And I think what's really important is that we have to go back to this idea that we were really talking stereotypes here. At one point, Kanye West said black people need to take more responsibility. And it was really the height of offense when you think of African Americans and all that they've bared in this country. You think about the fact that long before African Americans had the right to marry, long before they could keep their children from being sold by slave owners, long before they could vote, African Americans created communities and protected what they could of their families. And to see Kanye West say that African Americans need to take more responsibility, it's an old talking point that people have used over and over again. And it's really, in some ways, I would say inherently racist if you really want to put it out there. I think that black conservatives have said, yes, African Americans can take part of their future in their hands by voting for Republicans in a way that's really, I think, less offensive. They talk about owning businesses. They talk about getting small loans to get people to start businesses. They even talk about social issues. One thing that I know African American evangelicals at times bond with white evangelicals is over the case of abortion. But here what we had instead was Kanye West just using stereotypes and the president really shaking his head and going along with what he was saying.
What could be interesting, we rarely hear the president talk about gun violence. Prison reform is a Jared issue. It's not the president's. But in this case, knowing what's important to the president could make a move because we're talking about Chicago. And this is President Obama's hometown. And if there's one thing that we know Trump loves to do is to show up Obama. Right. And if Trump can get something done in Obama's backyard, that is exactly what he likes. And guess what? If it helps the people of Chicago, Illinois, great.
Yeah, well, again, that was on the table for about 45 seconds in that conversation and then blew away with the wind.
It went from the table to outer space.
Yeah, no kidding. Yamiche, thanks very much. And again, I apologize.